Alrighty, guys, we got another exciting video today. It's Braden and Rachel from Freedom Landing Pages. Rachel, tell them what we're talking about today.
All right, today we are talking about electric cars. We're going to go into, why people like them, why people don't like them, and then if Braden, you want to tell them the three components we're talking about.
Yeah, the three major components are, the environmental factor. Are they good for the environment, or at least better than gas cars for the environment? The cost effectiveness, is it cheaper to fill up an electric car than a gas powered car? And then the substitution factor, is an electric car going to be able to do everything that a gas powered vehicle can do? And then what are those, those differences, so that you can see if it's the right decision for you, and why some people are for it and against it, I really think is what we're thinking about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's the first thing is, everyone's super excited about electrical vehicles, especially with the price of gas right now.
Yeah, everyone's looking at how much money they think that they're saving or that they are, and because of gas prices going up, but it's still not that different when you actually analyze it all.
Well, I think is what it really is you're not getting out of paying for fuel. That's the biggest thing. It's like, and it is significantly cheaper than gas prices right now. I was looking at a study, they did a Ford pickup versus the new Ford Lightning. They're all electric pickup, okay? So to fill up a Ford pickup right now, it's somewhere around $90, maybe a little bit more if you're in California or something like that. And the average price to charge their electric vehicle is $25. So that is significant savings, I would say. That's what is that? That's a third of the price, maybe a little bit less than a third, a quarter. So I think that there's some merit there. But now, what if we look at it for
how far can you go?
That's the biggest thing, like miles per gallon or volts per gallon, percentages per gallon. And I think that's where the discrepancy is. So, Ford Lightning's claiming 300 miles per tank, okay? Which is pretty good compared to their gas powers get around 350 miles per tank. That's, to be honest, that's pretty on par with just, an average truck. We've seen, though, that there are some discrepancies that come into play when you're towing stuff or when you're hauling things. That's when real issues. I saw a study by the Wall Street, or actually, sorry, this was by the YouTube channel. Let me see here. It was by the Fast Lane Truck. So they did a study. They took the new Ford Lightning and the old F-150. They towed the exact same camper. They were going from, I think it was Grandview, Colorado to Boulder, something like that. It was about a 120-mile trip. Okay, which
Castle Rock?
Yeah, Castle Rock. I'm sorry. Yes, Castle Rock to that's she's
got you.
Castle Rock to Boulder, which is about 120 miles. And for both of those trucks, they can easily go 120 miles, right? I mean, 300 miles on the electric vehicle, 350 on gas. That's what they were saying. Throughout this study, though, they showed that the electric pickup was getting about 1 mile per battery percentage. So that works out to 100 miles only. And on top of that, the car couldn't calculate correctly how much further it could go.
Because it was pulling the trailer.
Because it was pulling the trailer, yes. It was, it was saying 300 miles, but it'd go 300, 290, 280. It was jumping really quick down. So what happened is these guys, they were trying to pull it around the 70-mile mark. They were like, man, we're not going to make it. We need to get somewhere to charge. And there weren't any charging stations for the next 30 miles. So they had to turn around, drive back 15 miles to a charging station. And at that, they'd only made it like 55 miles into their trip.
Yeah. I mean, that honestly just sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. And this is pulling a trailer. So it is a special case circumstances. But the gas powered vehicle, at the end of the study, they showed the gas powered vehicle went all the way there and went all the way home before the electric vehicle was done charging that first time.
Yeah. I mean, in this scenario, maybe they didn't know where they were, so they didn't know where the charging stations were, so they had to turn around. Maybe not everyone has to turn around, but they still had to stop and charge before they could even make it there.
Yeah, before they even make it there. And I mean, we can talk about this, how long it takes to charge these vehicles on different things. that's the other study that I wanted to bring up. This one is by the Wall Street Journal. There was a journalist. He was wanting to drive his electric vehicle from New Orleans to Chicago, and he just wanted to see. He didn't care how long it was going to take him. And the title of the article speaks for itself. It says, I took an electric vehicle from New Orleans to Chicago and spent more time charging my car than I did sleeping. Let that sink in. He was charging his car the full time he was sleeping. You'd imagine, whether he's at a hotel or at a charging station, and that still wasn't enough.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, this is kind of moving in.
Wise,
yeah,
it's a lot quicker to fill up a gas tank than charge your car, and your car has to be charged a lot more.
That's the biggest issue that we see. Is that charging takes forever comparatively to when you're just filling up with gas. And yeah, there's some substantial financial savings involved with that. But if you're someone like me and Rachel, we value our time very highly, for having to sit at a charging station for like 3 hours compared to spending an extra $50 on fuel. My time is way more than $50 an hour.
Yeah. And also like just from the example of pulling a trailer, and I think you told me another example about off-roading in an electric car. They're not built for everything, at least yet. They are not prepared for everything. They might be, all right to drive across the country. You just have to charge them more often than you would put gas, or it takes more time to charge them than it does to fill up your tank. But they're definitely not ready to pull trailers and go off-roading on those trails and stuff.
Yeah, that's really, what we're seeing is the dependability factor is really just not there yet. And that's just a testament to technology. It takes a long time to get where we're at with gas vehicles. I mean, they've been around, almost 100 years now?
Yeah.
And we're just getting to where they're very dependable, very reliable. I even saw that the Nissan Leaf, which is the highest selling electric car vehicle in the world, its estimated lifespan is 90,000 miles. 90,000 miles. That's crazy. Toyotas go for $500,000.
Toyota Tundra, the new Toyota Tundras can run
they're saying the new Toyota Tundra is claiming 1 million miles.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's all these different, in an average vehicle, I would say 250,000 mile lifespan. That's less than half of that. And then what's your car going to be worth when it hits that 90,000 miles and you've got to replace all those batteries? We've been hearing, battery replacement costs are anywhere from $7,000 to $15,000. That's a whole new vehicle.
Yeah.
No one's going to be buying these.
You can't get a loan for batteries.
You can't get a loan for batteries. Exactly, Rachel.
You can't get a loan for a new car. So then what are you doing? Just dumping that car and getting a new electric car?
Mm-hmm. And that's where we go into the environmental portion. Yeah. So it's not just about the electric power maybe is better than gas power, which let's get into that in a second, but it is the fact of the recyclability of it. If these cars have half the lifespan that we're talking about, and then they're pretty much worthless because the most expensive component in them is the batteries, you're just going to have cars piling up that are just junk and useless, which I'm gonna be honest, that's really good for the car market because every freaking 90,000 miles, you're buying a new vehicle from them. If I was a car dealership, that's exactly what I would want. But from an environmental standpoint, that's a lot of waste. That's a lot of extra metal, a lot of extra plastic. And some of this can be recycled, but I don't know how much is going on with that. And to top it off, I have heard that battery recycling technology is getting better, but in general, it is very difficult to recycle these batteries and get them in a safe place to where they're not contaminating the environment.
Yeah, definitely. And then moving on to gasoline and pollution, so yeah, an electric car doesn't use gasoline, but they use electricity, and electricity comes from coal, burning
mostly
coal.
In America, mostly. Somewhere around 80% of our electricity is coal.
Yeah,
which is definitely way more polluting than burning gas. Burning coal versus burning gas, coal produces a heck of a lot more pollution.
And it doesn't matter if they're not burning it right in your city. It does not matter. It is still burning way more.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing is it's like, well, that's an argument that they've made. Well, we're taking the pollution out of the cities and moving it to these big processing facilities in industrial areas. But yeah, I think we can all understand that that's not really how air works. It's all going to blend and like come together. It's not like you can section off. No, it's not coming into the city anymore. We're fine.
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal. And what Rachel's referencing is a PragerU video that we'll leave down in the description that's got some really interesting information on how this is. And, if you are using renewable energy to power your vehicle, I think that's a really good way to go. But the reality of the situation is if you're charging it from one of those stations, at Target, at Amazon, wherever it is at the mall, those are not powered by renewable energy.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the case of it. So, I think the last thing to talk about and then have some conclusions here is the fact of, is this a replacement for a gas-powered vehicle? And
good replacement.
Is it a good replacement? Yes. I'm going to say no. It is not a replacement. This is something that, if you're a family of four, one of you's already got a gas-powered truck or a van or something like that. If you don't need a truck because your family's not into that kind of stuff, this could be a secondary vehicle to just buzz around town in.
School.
Yeah, school, getting groceries, going to work, going to the doctor's office, anything that's like within your area. I think it could be really helpful for something like that, and you probably could save quite a bit of money on charging it and on fuel costs.
Yeah.
I just don't see it as a replacement. I kind of see it as a commodity to where, like, out here in Kansas, a lot of people get those like Polarises, the side-by-sides and the Razors, because you can drive them on the road legally. But they're not taking that to Kansas City. They're not going on their vacation to Florida in that thing. And that's exactly how I see electric cars is if you have the extra money to buy yourself a toy and you want to do something that's maybe good for the environment, if you have solar or some kind of renewable energy resource in your area that you can use.
And
other than that,
save you a little bit of money in town.
Yeah. And it would save you a little bit of money in town. And, the factor that they are the coolest cars out there. I mean, a Tesla is so cool. I've sat in them. I've driven them a little bit. They're fast as heck, really fun to drive. The automated, like the autopilot stuff, super cool. The big screen in the middle, you can play games. Awesome. They're so fun.
I honestly can't imagine like going on a road trip in one of those. Like you'd never get bored.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the fun part. But the problem is you won't ever get there.
Yeah. You'll spend your time charging it and like watching movies while you charge your car or whatever. I don't know. I don't have a Tesla. I don't know what they do.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, here's an example. Like I live in Kansas and Rachel lives in Florida. If I wanted to go visit her, I mean, how many miles is it? It's what, 800, 1200, something crazy.
I don't even know. It's a ton though.
It's a ton of miles. It takes 2 days.
2 days. Yeah. 2 days.
It's 2 days. By a gas powered car, mind you. If you were trying to do that in an electric vehicle, and say you get 5 days of vacation, so you take off the whole week, you got the whole weekend, you've got 9 days total. It already takes us 2 days to drive there without charging. Okay. If you're going to spend days charging, let's say it takes you only an extra day. Let's say, and that's conservative. I think it'll take you double. So now you've spent 6 out of your 9 days of vacation driving, or even worse, sitting in a parking lot waiting for your car to charge. It's just, it's not a good substitution at this point.
Not yet. And it could get there. Just like you said, like it took us so long to get where we are with gas powered cars. So it could just be a timely thing, but currently they're not really comparable.
Yeah, they're just not on the same level. And that's what we're trying to say is, the government's pushing everyone to get electrical vehicles, be all electric by 2025 or whatever their new goal is, or, and it's just unrealistic. If that is their goal and they try to push that, they're going to be hurting their American people by not allowing them the freedom to move within their own country. And, I really don't think it's going to save any on pollution. If you watch the PragerU video, it's like over the lifetime of a car, you save, I think it's something like 10 CO2 per ton emissions, and like a car produces 1,600 in their lifetime, and an electric car produces like 1,580 in their lifetime. Like it's very close. It's
Very.
very close. And again, this is with coal powered everything, or coal powered majority. If we did somehow switch to renewable energy, that could be changed. But the problem of switching to renewable energy is the grid. There's not enough of it. The grid can't support that as it is, as it sits right now.
Why don't, before we I know we're already concluding, but why don't you tell them about what you were telling me yesterday about on your street that you live on?
The electric grid right now cannot support that many Teslas per street. It definitely cannot support everyone having a Tesla. Maybe I think it's less than half, but the reality is if half the people on your street were charging their Tesla and you wanted to turn your AC on in your home, there's not enough power to do it. There's not enough power for all of that, let alone if they're trying to push this agenda for all of us to have electric cars. It's going to be, do you guys want to charge your cars or do you want to run your house?
Yeah. And then it doesn't matter.
And then everyone's going to choose to run their house and then you don't have a car to go anywhere.
Yeah. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. It's just, and like we were saying, they're super cool, great commodity. If you have the money to get one as like an extra vehicle, I say go for it because it will improve like your quality of life. I bet your happiness, getting to drive around in a freaking spaceship.
You'll save some money in town.
Mm-hmm. And save some money in town. But for the everyday person where you have one car for either yourself or you have one car for your family, it is not a substitution. It's far from it at this point.
Yeah.
But, well, that's our conclusion for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. This is Braden and Rachel from Freedom Landing Pages, just giving you our take on electric vehicles. And we'll be sure excited to chat with you the next time.
Yeah, y'all have a great day.
Yep, have a great one. Talk to you later.